I am in a swampy area where rice is usually grown. Recently, rice was harvested from this farm and is currently being processed. As you can see, he's processing the rice. Since this is a swampy area and has a good water source nearby, the farmer has gone ahead to cultivate vegetables here and then making it her second source of income. Let's meet the farmer. My name is Mrs. Christiana Okorie. I have been a vegetable farmer for a very long time. I started it in Onyenyanga in Bendi before I got here.
Okay. 10 or 15 years.
Mrs. Okorie has been a vegetable farmer for about 10 to 15 years. And on this piece of land, she cultivates fluted pumpkin, which is popularly known as ogo. She also cultivates garden egg leaves, scent leaves, curry leaves, and also okra. Vegetables can be grown in open fields, greenhouses, or controlled environments using methods like hydroponics. Fluted pumpkin, commonly known as ogo, is a highly nutritious and widely cultivated vegetable in West Africa, particularly in Nigeria, Ghana, and Cameroon. It is grown for its edible leaves and seeds, which are rich in vitamins, minerals, and protein. Later in this video, you will find out the most profitable season to grow fluted pumpkin. During the rainy season and dry season, just like we are in now, when do you think vegetable farming is more profitable? From what I observed, this is a swampy area where rice is usually grown. I think rice was harvested from here recently. So now, considering the fact that rice has been harvested from here, do you think the nutrients here is still enough to carry the vegetable crops you planted? Despite harvesting rice from this piece of land, the land still contains enough manure to carry the vegetables along. Mrs. Okorie told me that the availability of water sources nearby also contributes to the success of these crops. Do you use fertilizer here, or is it just purely organic? Organic. When it comes to manure application, Mrs. Okorie does not use synthetic fertilizer. She believes in natural manure, although she doesn't apply any here due to the land's fertility. What is the major challenge you face in this farm? That's as a vegetable farmer, what is the major challenge you face? One of the challenges Mrs. Okorie faces here is how slippery the farmland is, making her prone to falling. This makes farm work, including the watering process, quite difficult for her.
Then another one about financial.
Okay.
110,000.
Another challenge she faces is financial constraints. She doesn't have enough funds to do more. She shared with me that this piece of land cost her 110,000 naira. She purchased pots of fluted pumpkin worth 80,000 naira. And the cultivation cost 30,000 naira, excluding the expenses for clearing and herbicides. Why did you choose to plant vegetables here after harvesting the rice? Why didn't you go ahead to maybe cultivate rice again?
I will do so. I'm going here, but with time.
Okay.
Yes, every June.
Mrs. Okorie told me that rice cultivation is seasonal. So while waiting for the rice cultivation season in June, she chose to make better use of the fertile land by cultivating vegetables. So how do you deal with pests and diseases that are on this farm?
Yes,
to combat pests and diseases, this vegetable farmer uses synthetic methods, specifically the application of pesticides. Regarding the cost, she told me that one of the pesticides she uses costs 4,000 naira, another 1,700 naira, and another 2,000 naira. She mentioned that the type of treatment depends on how well the farmer wants the vegetables to perform. Is there anything special you do on this farm to make sure that it is very healthy for the vegetables, or you just leave it and then the vegetable goes?
Just leave it. When the vegetable
for you not to have done anything, it means that the farm is indeed very, very fertile.
Why not? This farm,
This farm was abandoned for a long time, for more than 20 years. No one wanted to work on it. When I showed interest in the land, the owner didn't believe I could cultivate it. When I hired laborers, they came. One of them eventually left, so I continued working with the other. We bought a carton of chemicals and he applied them all over the land before we started cultivation. When the landowner saw the progress, he admitted that what I, as a woman, had done here, he couldn't do it even as a man. If you look here, you will see how thick it is. That is how the entire place was. I was told that python lived here. I have seen a chimpanzee down there. You know, the most enduring are the strongest.
If you don't have a liver,
Yes, so.
you won't succeed.
Alright. And when any vegetable each another him off man at this eba. So any vegetable at all will do very well here. Mrs. Okorie told me that there is no vegetable crop that won't perform very well on this land due to how fertile the land is. Having a fertile land is a key factor in successful vegetable farming, as vegetables require nutrient-rich, well-balanced soil for optimal growth, high yield and quality produce. Mrs. Christiana Okorie, amongst many other farmers, enjoys the benefit of having a fertile land. But as the saying goes, whatever has an advantage also has a disadvantage. Fertile land also encourages the growth of weeds. Is there anything you do to manage the weeds growing on this farm?
Yes, now. I am about your way. Like you two on the hapota.
Okay. To deal with weeds, she applies herbicides to them as they grow. She prefers doing it herself to ensure it is perfectly done, as she believes that if someone else handles it, they might make mistakes that could affect the vegetables. From what you explain now, it means that you make use of both pesticides. That's, you make use of chemicals for pesticides and then chemicals for weeds.
Yes.
After spending this whole thing, do you think you will still make back profit?
Well, with God, all things are possible. I depend on Him. And because this is revelation. I'm not going to ordinary. Oh, he is me.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. But from the previous years you've been doing it, have you been getting profits the previous years?
Yes, now. Yes, now.
Talking about profitability, she shared with me how profitable vegetable farming is. She told me that with vegetable farming, a farmer can be sure of both money for feeding and money for reinvestment. Mrs. Okorie also shared with me that she wants to set up a cassava farm, and that the profits from her vegetable farm will help her raise the money needed to establish it. Then for the how do you sell these vegetables? Do you sell the leaves or the pods, that's ikeyahu, or in a rekota habo, that's both the pods and the leaves?
Like today,
I will prune it today. Some people have already booked the quantity they want. Once they finish taking theirs, I will take the remaining to the market early in the morning, where buyers will purchase and resell. Okay, so you sell to resellers?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Now, how do you know the right time to harvest the vegetables? That is, you said you want to cut the leaves today. Yes. How can one say or ascertain when it is time to cut the leaves and then market? Or is there any particular time duration?
After 8 days. 8 days to cut also.
Mrs. Okorie prunes the vegetables every 8 days and markets the pruned leaves. According to her, these vegetables are about 2 months old, having been cultivated on December 19th. As of the time of making this video, it was February 10th. Since then, she has pruned them more than twice. Pruning, or cutting as it is popularly known in fluted pumpkin farming, involves cutting back excess growth to improve plant health, encourage higher leaf production, and enhance vine spread while still making money off it. The first pruning is usually done at 4 to 6 weeks after planting, when the plant has established strong roots and developed several leaves. Mrs. Okorie makes money from pruning her fluted pumpkin. and selling them off to resellers. Among the things you planted here, the okra, the scent leaves, and then everything. Which one is your priority? Is it the ugu itself?
Ugu.
Okay, so that's the main thing you focus on.
Yes, ugu is the main thing, and the one here now last.
Among all the vegetable crops planted here, she stated that fluted pumpkin is the main crop she grows. Explaining her reason, she said that fluted pumpkin lasts longer, unlike okra, which only lasts about a month during its fruiting stage before dying off. In contrast, she can continuously harvest fluted pumpkin leaves even until the rainy season, unless flood washes them away. Does swamp affect these things so much?
Yes.
Yes, water flows in. There are times when you come here and the water reaches close to your knees. If flood comes, it will wash everything away. So is there anything you people do or you do to control the issue of flood and all that? Can you control flood? When it comes, you will run. If it comes now, you will leave your camera and run away to save yourself first.
Somebody somewhere.
Okay. These vegetables, do you store them or is it after cutting them you sell them off immediately?
After cutting them myself.
Meaning that there are farmers standby. Buyers standby.
Yes, now after cutting myself.
What do you think about vegetable farming? Do you think more people will get into vegetable farming with time?
Yes. Ebe ọnwa nọ n'afọ now, a ga-akọwa ihe. People ga-akọwa n'ugu.
Mrs. Okorie told me that towards April, when cultivation begins, a lot of people will start planting fluted pumpkin. During that period, the market is usually saturated and there will be surplus of fluted pumpkin in the market. Sharing her success story, she told me that she successfully grew fluted pumpkin during the dry season due to the nearby water sources. Okay. Then let me ask you, during the rainy season and dry season, just like we are in now, when do you think vegetable farming is more profitable?
During dry season.
Dry season.
Because not all no
Among the many things I learned from this tour, one thing stands out, which is that vegetable farming is highly profitable during the dry season because fewer farmers engage in it, making the market less saturated. What advice do you have for somebody that wants to get into vegetable farming? The advice I have for the person is that they must have the courage. Is it that difficult?
Yes, nah.
What makes it difficult? What makes vegetable farming difficult? While we believe that having a water source nearby is an advantage for farmers who intend to grow vegetables during the dry season, Mrs. Okorie made me understand that watering these vegetables regularly is not an easy task. Not just that, she told me that purchasing fluted pumpkin pods can be quite expensive. But so far, is there any regret? Have you ever regretted being a vegetable farmer? Aside being a rice farmer, have you ever regretted being a vegetable farmer?
Everybody can say regret. It gives me joy.
Mrs. Okorie does not regret being a vegetable farmer. She told me that seeing her farm gives her joy and makes her reflect on what God does. Alright, thank you very, very much. I appreciate your time.
Alright.
Thank you.